Hey strangers, welcome to another episode of the Strange Sessions. I am Kurt, and with me as always is my spunky co-host. What was that look for? Why'd you give me
a spunky? I don't know.
Spunky's cute.
I'm not feeling very spunky today.
No, I'm not neither. I can't even talk. I don't know what the hell that.
Clearly,
I think I was having some kind of episode.
That. We're keeping that.
We'll keep that in there.
Kurt had an episode during our episode.
Kurt's not feeling good today.
No, he's not.
I don't want to go into details, but there's something like really wrong.
We're
my chest
urging
is all.
him.
Well, we've known that for years.
Right now we're kind of thinking Lyme disease that I may have.
Yes, we've diagnosed Kurt.
Yeah,
I may have been bitten
because I am seriously like completely out of it, and not in a wee drunk sort of way. And I'm going to pass out any second.
We keep saying we. We should probably explain that there are other people here with us.
Oh, yeah. Hey, when did they show up? I told you I'm out of it.
I don't know. We got here and they were just sitting in here.
Tonight we are joined by, our first time ever, two special co-hosts. Ooh. The first one is making her second appearance on the Strange Sessions. You loved her in the Lake Michigan Triangle episode.
Demand, yes.
So back with us is Rhonda Zahn.
Hey.
Welcome back, Rhonda.
Thanks for having me.
And along with her, we have her husband, Mark Zahn.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks for being. Yep, Mark
and
Rhonda are members of Heartland Paranormal Investigations.
Yes.
We actually have half the team here tonight because we don't have Barry, Ann, Deidre, or...
Barry.
Ooh, pressure's on. Dave. And Ann.
And Ann. I said Ann.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But otherwise...
How about a shout out to them?
Yeah, shout out to you guys.
Shout out
you guys.
I feel bad because I haven't talked...
We talk about Barry every episode.
We talk about Barry a lot, but I
great.
haven't talked to Ann or
awesome.
Deidre or Dave in forever.
So there's our shout
No,
out.
I know.
There's our shout. That's our
Hey,
group
guys.
shout out. We do have individual shout outs.
Yeah. Do we?
Yeah, we do. I don't know.
Well, mine will take place during the welcome new strangers
Yes,
part.
I will give an official shout out to the newest members of the Strangers that have signed up since our last episode. And those people are Dash Gallmeyer, Lynn Van de Vander, Rebecca Miller, Sarah Shalou Curtis, that's my cousin, Jude McConkey, Liz Martin, Tarina Porter Guerin, Sean Hodges, and Raven Shadows.
I'm a little skeptical about that last name. I feel like that's made up.
I think that's an alias. I'm thinking it's an alias.
Probably. I wanted to give a shout out to Dash, though, because crazy coincidence, we grew up in the same small little village called Pensaki.
That's so cool that you guys both grew up there.
I mean, a lot of us who grew up, like my grandparents lived down the road. My great aunt and uncle lived here. My cousins lived here. Like, we were all related, so it's kind of weird. He must be a little bit younger than me, though.
I think so.
Because I don't recognize his name at all. I was probably long gone.
I am going to give my shout out this week to Dash's daughter, Anna.
Oh.
She is 8 years old. She loves our podcast.
Well, hi, Anna.
We were talking about it. She absolutely loves our theme music. He downloaded our theme music for a ringtone.
You can do a ringtone, yeah.
Yeah, because she just loves our theme music. She loves the show.
Well, thank you to Jamie for the ringtone
yeah, thank you,
and
Jamie,
the
for the awesome music. So Anna also said when she gets older, she wants to hunt the Grinning Man.
Oh,
I'll accompany you. I'll be way in the back of the line because that kind of scares me.
It is freaky.
But I just think it's awesome that she loves our show so much and wants to do all this kind of stuff. So thank you so much, Anna. We love you. Thank you for listening to us. Now, you guys have shout-outs?
Oh, probably just shout out to the Britsta BDZ.
BDZ.
No, Devin.
Well,
I'll give a shout out to Devin.
Dad do the Dev.
Our little Eeyore.
Our little Eeyore.
Aw.
Sweet. All right, do we have any housekeeping?
Not that I'm aware of. Okay. There's been a lot of posts. Dash has been posting a lot in the group. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the group lately, so thank you guys for being so active in there. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I feel bad that I wish I was more active on the weekends, but
he works.
Stupid job.
That whole 9 to 5 crap or whatever it is.
7 to 7.
I had to win the lottery.
I know. Lotteries. Keeping my fingers crossed.
Do you play the lottery?
Kind of got to be in it to win it, you know?
I usually don't unless it's like
the big buck.
like
the
a Powerball.
Yeah, then your
I'm sure like
nothing.
200 million would be enough to make me happy for a while. So I need to start playing.
I'd take $1,000, really. But
yeah, I'd be happy with 500.
Not picky.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess I sort of have news. I've been talking about house hunting. So my news would be that I have an accepted offer in a house I want with my husband, of course, and our house. We got an accepted offer on our house too. So
Congratulations!
Yes.
we're
awesome.
we're in real estate limbo, and we'll be closing at the end of July. So
Welcome to the
Congrats.
crazy world.
Yeah, now the
No.
fun
Are
begins.
you moving to a murder house?
yeah, definitely. It was a lot less stressful buying a house when I was a first-time home buyer.
Yes.
When you have to sell a house and buy a house at the same time, oh, that is not fun.
Agreed.
But that's how it goes.
There's a part of me that would like a house, like a small house, instead of my apartment, but
You should.
I just don't know.
We know how you really love commitment.
Yeah,
So-
change. That and change.
Yeah.
That
Change
doesn't go
and
well.
commitment.
But wait, if
We'd
you
be there
start-
for
if
you.
you start planning now, if you start working on this now with you,
In about 20 years.
I'm just trying to get him to the doctor tomorrow. so,
Kurt and change aren't on real
No.
good
yeah,
terms.
but once we get you in the house, then you'll never leave it because you don't like change.
Oh, I know. That's why I don't want to leave my apartment I'm in now.
Between
because
Jim and
it's
I,
such
we
a
could
pain
work on
moving.
stuff, right?
Yeah, you guys know your stuff with the house. I mean, I don't.
Oh, yeah. My husband can fix just about anything. So far,
Awesome.
so.
I'll keep that in mind.
All right. Enough with tool talk with the Strange Sessions crew.
I don't think we really have any news, any housekeeping. One of these times we should have a
I
whole.
got to take notes because I might have some, but I don't know.
Yeah, we usually get done with the podcast and we're like, crap, we didn't talk about that.
Show notes. Oh, this is from the other podcast. Never mind. The show that shall not be named. I'm just kidding. It's the True Crime Crew.
Oh, I was like, what the hell?
It's on pause right now because Joe's having a baby in less than a month, and I'm buying a house, so we put it on hold.
This podcast
Stay
is our
tuned.
baby.
wow,
Dang.
Kristen Kurtz love
Didn't know
child.
Proud parents.
Our love
Yeah.
child.
The old dog. You.
Should we move on to our taste test?
We will move on to the taste test. I struggled with trying to think of what the four of us could try,
Okay.
and like I told,
Is it magic mushrooms?
it's the ones that
Alright.
they might
I'm
have had
in,
a
I'm in.
Detlov pass. It's a Detlov pass
Ooh,
mushroom, so
sweet.
we'll all mysteriously die.
The red ones
during-
with the white spots on
Yeah,
them?
the Super Mario mushrooms. But no, I was walking through CVS and I happened to go right past this on an end display, and I was like, "Cool, we
It's
got to
probably
try
like
this."
cough drops or something.
No, it is. Are you ready?
Drum roll.
Not like
Ready.
pig
It is
brain or
by
something.
Farmhouse Culture. Is the name of the company.
Okay.
It is white cheddar
I'm in. I love white cheddar or anything.
kraut crisps.
Kraut crisp.
Kraut crisps. It is like tortilla chips, and the first ingredient is sauerkraut.
What?
So it is
Ooh.
tortilla
We
chips.
have a
I like that.
we have a
Sounds good.
probiotic phase.
We like all of our
theme
stuff.
going here.
This one says it says Farmhouse Culture white cheddar kraut crisp.
This is gonna be
1
super
billion
annoying.
probiotics per serving.
Our listeners aren't going to like this because crunching into the microphone
I know.
is so annoying.
And what sauerkraut does to me, but
And it's a
So-
probiotic besides.
yeah.
The back of the package says, "Why put sauerkraut in a chip? Because in addition to being wildly delicious, our kraut is packed with probiotics." So there you go.
That's a pro.
Yeah, the first ingredient is literally sauerkraut.
All right. I like sauerkraut,
I love sauerkraut, but
especially on a Reuben.
I want
Are
to
you
say that
gonna
I'm
give
going to
me
like
a-
this.
On a hot dog,
but I was
that would be-
convinced I was going to like the pizza jerky until that came up and punched me in the junk. You know, so
It
this
harshed as mellow.
it did harsh my mellow, like hardcore.
I'm ready for some sauerkraut chips.
Some sauerkraut chips.
These could be disgusting or like my new favorite thing.
That's what it's either going to be really bad or really good. Oh, that does. Wow.
It's like a punch
Oh,
in the
it
face
smells
with
like a
some
fart. It
sauerkraut.
seriously smells like a fart. in a
That was me, sorry.
Take a whiff.
Everybody grab. Yeah, I want to smell. I got to take a picture too.
Well,
I'm not
does.
taking away.
yeah, that's
I'm going to smell it.
It smells like a fart in a bag.
it. We're going to eat that fart. I don't know.
To me. Sorry to poop on your fart parade, but
Good one, Krista.
Wow.
was it? I'm not sure. It
That's a good one.
Can I take a picture?
Yep.
I should have done that when I was holding on 2 seconds ago. Kraut crisps. Probiotics. 1 billion.
1 billion.
I need to hold one too. They look like just regular old tortilla chips.
If I fall asleep or pass out during the podcast, just use your microphone stand
We'll
to
poke
poke
you.
me to wake
No,
me
we'll
up.
Poke you with
we'll
a
come
stick.
back tomorrow and get you.
Anybody want to grab one?
Yeah, everybody grab one.
Oh, poke you with a stick, Kurt.
I'm excited about this because I love sauerkraut.
They smell very sauerkrauty.
I just don't understand how they use sauerkraut as the base of a
How is
chip.
it the first ingredient?
I don't know,
Yeah, that's
but
what I'm
it
not
is.
sure about. They look like a corn chip, like a corn
bigger
tortilla
one.
chip. What would you dip this in? Thousand Island?
Triangular.
Ranch.
Well, I'm thinking Reuben, right? So I'm thinking
Yes,
Thousand Island.
Thousand Island, right? I think that's
So are you ready to try the the kraut
Let's do it.
crisp?
Let's do
fine.
it.
Not to crunch in the microphone.
Right.
That's actually pretty good.
It tastes like a Dorito. I think they're delicious.
It tastes like a really bland,
Yeah, it's really bland.
like a
to
really
me.
bland Dorito.
I don't think it's bland.
I don't
Or like
think
a
it's bland
light.
at
It tastes
all.
like a lightly seasoned Tostito.
It's actually
Yeah.
kind of good.
It's actually
I
really
like
good.
it.
It's almost
For
like you
sure.
have to dip it
Wow.
in something. I don't know.
That was an island dressing, right?
There you go.
Don't you?
Yeah, Thousand Island.
I'll do another.
No, I'll have another. This is my
Those are
din-
really
this is
good.
dinner. Kurt didn't get me a sub today. This is where he hollers at me because I told him not to.
What I miss?
Passing
No,
the
I
bag
said
around.
I'm hungry because Kurt didn't get me a sub.
You told me not to. The hell?
You didn't take us to McDonald's either.
Anyone? He usually eats Chinese food before I
know.
show up.
That's actually really good. I like that.
CVS, huh?
CVS.
Oh, they're organic.
Yeah.
I would recommend.
So what do you think on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the perfect thing, 1 being the dead fish jelly beans.
or that salmon
One is
jerky.
Perfect salmon loaf.
No, 10 is
10 is
perfect.
perfect.
I didn't know.
I'd say like a 9.
Yeah. I'm going to give it
I
a...
don't like giving anything a perfect, but I feel like a 9.
I think
9
it's
is
kind of blah
appropriate.
to me, to be honest with you.
You're not into it?
So what do you think?
I don't
7?
dislike it. Yeah, I'd say 7.
Okay.
Rhonda?
I would say 8. I'm going to give it an 8.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
It's really good, but the number one with me is still the soda, the peanut butter and jelly
peanut
soda.
butter, so like PBJ.
Peanut butter and jelly soda?
Yeah,
It's really
it's
good.
really good.
I just listened to that episode.
It was
the other
really
day. You're
good.
going on
Seriously.
and on, like the
But
whole
this is probably the
episode.
second best thing so far.
I think my favorite is still that quinoa. No.
Was it the olive oil? And
Yes, with the olives.
olives, the black olive snack bar.
Kalamata olives or whatever
Yeah.
it was. It was like a Mediterranean snack bar thing.
Yeah,
I love that
You
thing.
really like that.
I
Did
did.
you like the other ones I gave you?
They're very good. Oh, thank you.
Was it
12
Elvis?
minutes. Yeah. No, I don't know what that is. No, that was actually like pet detective guy. What's his name?
I don't know.
Oh, thank you.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. There you go.
Ace Ventura.
Oh, that must be an awesome impression.
Alrighty.
I thought it was Elvis.
You know that one guy.
Well, thank you very much.
There you go.
Do we have anything else to talk about? Oh, my microphone smells like sauerkraut now.
It's everybody's dream come true.
Nothing else to discuss?
Nope. We're done. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you for joining us for
And next
for
week.
Until next time.
for sauerkraut talk.
It's probiotic talk with Kurt and Krista.
I'm so happy we have all these new listeners that come in
Yeah.
like every week.
It is cool. And I don't even have to ask anymore if you know these people because most of the time we don't know them anymore.
Well, like
At
Liz,
first it was like
Liz Martin.
obligation
I've been
people.
writing back and forth with Liz Martin about video games because she's into like the role playing video games.
Are you
I
playing
like.
Fortnite now?
I'm still playing Fortnite.
I think Jay Muse. Do you know who that is?
No.
Jay and Silent Bob. Jay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he plays Fortnite.
They
I
just
follow
had-
him on Instagram.
They just had like a celebrity episode or some or a celebrity game where the
He might
winner
have been
got
on
like
it.
I can't remember how much money, but they had. It's just gotten huge, and it's addicting as hell.
This is
Smells like sour.
Yeah, the room does
I was
smell
going
like
to say this
sauerkraut.
is an intervention, Kurt. We're here to talk about Fortnite.
Fortnite and going to the doctor.
Yeah.
By the time the next episode comes out, I should have a post office box for us,
Ooh.
so people will actually be able to send us things.
No bombs, please.
No bombs, no poison.
Or white powder.
But we love
All
postcards. We love choking on my sauerkraut chip. We'd love to get.
Not something I ever thought I'd
yeah,
heard.
stop
anyone
choking
say
on
before.
yours.
I don't think I've ever said that phrase before. We'd love to get postcards
Tell
from
the
our
doctor about
listeners.
that too, please.
I had a bunch of sauerkraut chips. I don't know if that's going to affect. But no, we'd love to get postcards from you guys. So
Yeah.
by next week, I should have a P.O. box lined up.
Or if you have non-perishables that you would like us to taste test.
Yeah. I don't know if I want-
weird granola bars
Yeah.
or
I
I don't know if I want.
That would
no
be a good
liquids.
thing.
Don't send us any liquids.
I don't know if I want to taste test open
It's got to
things.
be in it. No, it's
Well,
got to be in its
no.
original. No, don't send me like a sandwich bag with a homemade granola bar.
It has to be sealed.
That really is a candy
original
bar.
packaging.
Yeah, I'm
The
telling
sad
you.
thing is you probably have to stop me from eating that. I'm like, ooh.
Kurt, don't eat that.
It's slapping out of my hand.
What do you rate that? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Should we get on today's... I sound like I'm drunk.
Can I close this bag of sauerkraut
Yeah.
chips?
What's wrong?
stinks
Is this
in
the
here.
smell?
It's a little stinky.
Do you imagine how stinky?
They're delicious, but they're stinky.
If you leave this room and come back in, you know how strong
I know. Somebody's going to come in tomorrow morning and they're going to have the toilet all apart in the other room thinking it backed up.
Who the heck died in here? Come on.
Damn!
But that it's weird because it doesn't taste a lot like sauerkraut, but it smells a lot like sauerkraut.
But I think it tastes enough like it to warrant, because we've had a couple things where I'm like, I don't even taste the main ingredient.
Yeah, this one you can.
Oh, yeah. What are we talking about today?
Something near and dear to all of our hearts.
Yes.
EVP.
Oh, yeah.
Electronic voice phenomena.
I was going to say that. It stands
Well-
for electronic voice phenomena.
He took his thunder away.
I'm just going to sleep. You guys do the rest of the
Kurt
podcast.
has a script and we do not stray from that script.
He's upset
Wake
now.
me up when you guys are done with the...
Just poke 'em with a stick on occasion.
There's really not... we're going to go into the history of EVP and stuff, but there's
Okay.
really not that much...
It'll be a lot
Out
of us
there
talking
about
about
it.
it. Yeah. About
But
the
we're
EVPs.
gonna play some examples. We're gonna play a couple that we caught.
Yep.
So, and another thing is you're gonna want to listen to this episode probably through headphones or earphones because some of these might be a little difficult to hear unless you're actually listening on headphones.
I'll adjust the volume too when I
Okay, so
edit them in.
blast
So
their
A,
eardrums.
yeah, you don't go deaf after listening. And B, so that you can actually hear it though.
Yeah, so try to listen to this episode through headphones, at least when it gets to the part with EVPs.
Sweet.
So here we go. EVP, or electronic voice phenomena, Krista, is the process of capturing what are believed to be spirit voices or spirit sounds onto a recording device. Basically, it's 99% holding out your microphone and saying, is there anybody here with me right now?
What's your
What's
name?
your name? What's my name?
Yep.
That's so much. Ghost hunting is so
Yeah.
much
much.
of that.
Ask
Waiting
a question,
around.
wait 10, 20 seconds, ask
And then
another.
nothing, and then ask another question. Have a
It's
stomach
mostly
growl.
us joking around.
Yeah, it's mostly us laughing at ourselves.
It's a good.
So the history of EVP. In 1901, anthropologist Waldemar Bogaris used a phonograph to record the languages, songs, and beliefs of various indigenous tribes in Siberia, which is just like the Detloff Pass episode. Bogaris was recording a ritual performed by a Chukchi shaman, and as the shaman entered a trance, Bogaris began to hear a multitude of voices speaking both in Russian and English. When he played the recording back, the voices also appeared on the recording. According to some sources, the Minnesota State University continues to maintain and study that recording. Despite examinations by researchers, the recording remains unexplainable. This is the first recorded occurrence of a possible EVP.
Well, do we get to hear it?
No, because I couldn't find it anywhere online.
Now I really want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's kind of rare. Usually an EVP is not something you hear in the moment.
I know. That's why it was kind of different. But it said that when they listened back to the recording, you could hear the shaman chanting like in the background, and you could hear the voices closer to the microphone, like they were actually surrounding the microphone.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's very rare to actually hear. One of the examples that I'm going to have today kind of has that where the person hears the EVP.
Okay.
So we're going to have that later. So that was like the first recorded occurrence of a possible EVP.
Did we do an EVP episode in season 1?
No, you
That
guys
was
did. You guys did one on
Paranormal
Paranormal
Palaver.
Palaver.
Okay.
Yep, this is our first EVP
They're
episode.
blending together for me.
And what date was that again?
1901.
1901.
Okay.
One of the first mentions of what would become known as EVP was by respected inventor and scientist Thomas Edison. Edison believed that one day a machine would exist that would allow us to speak with the dead. In a 1920 article in American Magazine, Edison states, quote, "If our personality survives, then it is strictly logical or scientific to assume that it retains memory, intellect, other faculties, and knowledge that we acquire on this earth. Therefore, if we can evolve an instrument so delicate as to be affected by our personality as it survives into the next life, such an instrument, when made available, ought to record something." With help from his assistant, Dr. Miller Hutchison, he started to physically build his communication machine, but it remained unfinished until his death in 1931. This machine, which was later named the Thomas Edison Communicator, or TEC, is believed by some to have been completed by others through experimentation and using Edison's surviving notes. But Edison has also stated that he made the whole thing up as a joke. So,
Alrighty then.
Well,
kind of a buzzkill there.
yeah.
Then, in 1949, two Italian Catholic priests, Father Ernetti and Father Gemelli, were attempting to record Gregorian chants when a wire on their magnetophone kept snapping. Aggravated and tired of messing around with it, Father Gemelli looked up and asked his deceased father for help. To the shock of both men, the voice of Gemelli's dead father recorded on the magnetophone, and it answered, "Of course I will help you. I am always with you." The men, both stunned, asked who it was, and the voice answered, "But Zucchini, it is clear. Don't you know it is I?" Zucchini was his childhood name that his dad always called him, that like nobody else knew. This troubled them so much that they went to the Pope, Pope Pius XII. The Pope responded, quote, "Dear Father Gemelli, you really need not worry about this. The existence of this voice is strictly a scientific fact and has nothing to do with spiritism. The recorder is totally objective. It receives and records only sound waves from wherever they come. This experiment may perhaps become the cornerstone for a building for scientific studies which will strengthen people's faith in a hereafter."
The Pope said that?
Yeah, that
That's
was really
impressive.
that impressed me too
Yeah.
because
Wow.
I couldn't see them doing
That's
that.
very scientific.
That's very scientific coming from a Catholic Pope.
Right.
So I just thought that was really interesting.
Interesting.
But the most often cited moment for when EVP became first known and began being studied happened in 1959 when Swedish opera singer, painter, and film producer, wow,
Triple threat.
that's a busy guy, Fredrik Jurgensen was recording the sounds of birds singing in a forest. When he played the tape back, he heard a female voice say, quote, "Fredrik, you are being watched. Friedel, my little Friedel, can you hear me?" It was the voice of his dead mother. Jurgensen was fascinated by what he heard and went on to record many other voices over the next 4 years, eventually publishing 2 books about the subject called Voices from the Universe and Radio Contact with the Dead.
Wow.
Dr. Konstantin Radev, I'm not exactly sure, a Latvian psychologist, heard of Jurgensen's experiments. At first he was skeptical, but then he tried the technique himself and wound up recording many voices, including that of his deceased mother saying, "Consultant, this is your mother." And the consultant was the boyhood name she always called him.
Okay, these people have really weird
I know.
childhood names.
I know.
Yeah.
Zucchini and consultant.
Consultant. Consultant.
I'm waiting for broccoli or something.
All right.
Radev and Jurgensen met up and began a lengthy collaborative study of EVP. It is said that Radev taped approximately 100,000 audio tapes that were believed to contain EVP snippets, all done under strict laboratory conditions. There seems to be no hard proof to this, however. In the 1970s, EVP began to be used more and more during paranormal investigations. American researchers George and Jeanette Meek and psychic William O'Neill recorded hundreds of hours of EVP with radio oscillators. They claimed to have captured the EVPs with the help of another scientist, Dr. George Jeffries Mueller, who had passed away years before. So apparently he was helping them from the other side get EVPs.
Cool. Okay.
Then, in 1982, Sarah Estep started the American Association of Electronic Voice Phenomenon, also known as the AAEVP. Estep claimed to have communicated with thousands of ghosts as well as with aliens. So, there's that.
Thousands of ghosts.
Thousands of ghosts as well as aliens.
Okay.
The founding of the AAEVP is often seen as the start of the modern era of electric voice phenomena. Then, with the emergence of the internet and the ability to post and share sound files, and the advent of shows like Unsolved Mysteries, Sightings, and Ghost Hunters, EVP blew up and went mainstream. The next big thing in EVP was Frank's Box, or the Ghost Box, which was created by Frank Sumption, supposedly with the help of the spirit world. The device is a combination of a white noise generator and an AM radio designed to scan frequencies and generate very quick snippets of sounds. The theory is that the spirits can electronically manipulate this device and carry on a two-way conversation with the living. So that's basically the history of EVP.
All right.
As far as Frank's Box, I just don't...
I was just going to ask, what are your thoughts,
Yeah.
you guys, on the ghost box?
I think if I'm doing it, so I know.
Yeah, I've
there's
never
n-
used one.
You know what? But if I see it on TV in a show or something, I couldn't
That's
trust
the same
that
with,
they're
that's the same
not.
with auditory EVPs, that they're so easily faked that
Right.
unless we caught it or a group that we know and have worked with and trust caught it, it's too easy to question.
Or it's not even that it was faked. It's that did somebody make a noise and didn't call it out?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's true too.
But as far as the ghost box, I don't like it. I know groups, I've just talked with somebody that's in a group that uses it, and I don't like it because you're hearing a snippet of sound, like it says,
And you can interpret
and you're
it.
turning it
Yeah.
into anything. With audible EVP, if there's nothing that could have physically made that sound, then there's no real explanation for it. But if you have a little blip of sound and you string together a couple of those, you're going to be hearing whatever you want to hear.
That's kind of my thought too. That.
So I'm not dissing the groups that use it, because I do know groups that use it. It's just
I'd like to
it.
try it. It's not that I'd just like to try it.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust it unless we did it.
Right.
Maybe,
Part of me feels like that's too much farting around on an investigation too. Is messing
really
around with this
loud,
thing. They're
too,
really
aren't they?
loud, and you're gonna miss things maybe happening in the background that you would otherwise hear.
I know Ghost Adventures crew is really into that.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But I watch that show. I used to, but
Yeah.
I don't watch.
I don't
And
watch
I think that's one of the probably my first experience was
Ghost
Adventures
Yeah.
when they kind of introduced that to their investigations
And there was the Ovulus, which was a little handheld device that looked like a flashlight that had
It didn't. Yeah.
it had all the parts of words. I think phonemes or whatever they're called had
Right.
and it would randomly string them together, and it would supposedly. But on the other hand, there's a app on the phone. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
I used
Ghost
to have it on
detector
mine
or
too.
something like
Yeah.
that, and you go around with your phone, and it has like a little radar of where a ghost is, and it will pick a word at random out of its dictionary, kind of acting like an Ovulus. And I was doing it once in my old apartment that all the stuff
Okay.
happened in,
Creepy ass.
and the
apartment.
word that came up was like really, really specific to what I was doing at the time. And that kind of freaked me out. I don't remember what it was, but it said the word, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
well, it's a friendly
But
show right now.
there's some people, that think it hears what you're saying and it picks a word.
Oh sure.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had that thing on my phone too many phones ago, and I used it, and I didn't think it
Wasn't
did
impressed.
anything. No,
But no, I'm not a fan of Frank's box or the Ghost box. I'm just not.
just a good old fashioned handheld digital recorder. That's all I need.
Agreed.
I like the feel, when you're in an investigation, the atmosphere,
Well,
and
I
have
like
all
the
that noise going on.
Yeah,
Right.
the fact that you ask a question and then it's quiet after you ask the question. Like you said, like the Frank's box is constantly spitting out white
That would
noise.
drive me crazy.
Yeah,
actually.
even when they play it for a little while on Ghost Adventures, it gives me a headache.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan. I'll stick with, like you said, the old handheld recorder. So now the question, how the hell does EVP work? The answer, we don't know.
You have to look somewhere else for that.
Some people think that a spirit or ghost simply talks into the microphone of the recorder or instrument. However, a ghost or spirit is just pure energy and lacks the vocal cords required to transmit the pressure waves needed to vibrate the molecules in the air for a person to be able to hear it with their ears.
But
Most-
we don't. We don't hear it with our
most
ears.
people who capture EVP will tell you that they do not actually hear the voices or sounds until after they play back the recording. As such, this basic belief that they are actually speaking into the recorder is ruled out by most paranormal investigators.
I've never really thought about it, to be honest with you.
No, but we'll talk about it after we get through a couple of these. What the hell? The next one is electromagnetic phenomena. The electromagnetic fields associated with paranormal activity may possibly cause similar fluctuations as well, which could imprint the paranormal communication on tapes and devices such as a tape recorder or a handheld digital recorder. It must also be noted that other electronic devices, such as digital recorders, have the capability of receiving electromagnetic energy via the internal circuitry inside them. So this theory is basically saying that it's using electromagnetic,
Yeah.
to
manipulate.
power to
Yeah.
energy to manipulate the recorder itself. But I don't know if I buy that either necessarily. Because if you have a cassette tape and you catch an EVP on it, you can erase it, where you would think that it might permanently affect the tape if it was an electromagnetic energy. I just don't know. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Another theory involves the remodulation of existing sounds. This is the belief that the spirit uses existing sounds around them, such as fans, frogs, human voices, static, running water, miscellaneous white noise, etc., to somehow remodulate their wave patterns into words that they want the listener to hear.
That's an interesting theory. I've never heard that before, but I like that actually.
Another theory is that the person attempting the EVP and holding the recorder is actually working as a medium for the spirit or other paranormal activity, which uses telepathy or psychokinetic energy to transfer their message through the person onto the recording device.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's too much like a Ouija board.
But
It is like, because if you think about it, they're basically using you.
Right.
But the person isn't speaking out loud.
No, the person isn't speaking out loud, but somehow they're using that person's energy.
But does it sound like your voice?
No,
then?
no.
That's weird.
But that also doesn't answer the question of how it actually puts that onto the recorder. When I was looking at this, I thought about it. I mean, I love EVP. I love trying for EVP, but it doesn't make sense
How it happens.
Yeah. I don't understand it. Like, one of the
maybe that's the cool thing about it.
It is.
We can't explain it.
And we can't. Yeah.
One of our best EVP that we're going to play later tonight, Mark got at JFK Prep. And you can hear it clear as day.
It's a question and a very clear answer.
A very clear answer. And I don't know where my copy went, but I had my recorder running at the same time. So I synced it up, and they asked the question. And on Mark's recorder, you hear an answer. On mine, there's absolute silence.
And it
nothing.
happens all the time.
And it happens all the time how one recorder will catch something, but a recorder placed right next to it won't catch it.
Right.
Now, does the EVP only go on the recorder from the person who asked the question?
Not. I don't know. That's a good question.
So who caught the giggle?
I caught the giggle.
You were the one who
but
asked
I also
the question.
asked the question. So it's possible, but that still doesn't answer how.
I need more examples.
That doesn't answer
maybe
how.
That's actually a good question. I guess that's something that we've never thought to experiment with, though, either.
Because
Right.
that would kind of go with what they said about taking the energy of the...
of the person that asked the question.
Yeah.
That's very possible. I never thought of that
I
either.
don't know.
We'll have to do some experiments.
We'll have to do some experimentation.
We have a possible investigation location too, so maybe we'll have an opportunity.
Yeah, we
There's
have to
always
get
this
it
school
going
that we're
again.
sitting into.
Yeah, we do need to, especially with people liking Heartland Paranormal Investigations Facebook page like every day, considering we haven't done anything in like 10 years.
Has it been that long?
I don't
No.
know. It's been 10
Well, it
years.
amazes me.
It's
Like
been
when
a
I was
while.
going,
I'd say 5 or 6 years.
when I was going through the EVPs that we're going to play today, we had such crappy recorders back then. Like newer recorders sound crystal clear, and
Yeah,
ours.
there's no white
But you figure it was like
Yeah.
10, 12 years ago that we were recording this. They've come a long way since then. So I was listening to some of these, and I'm like, oh my god,
And
that
they're
sounds
pretty, they're
horrible.
pretty cool, too, because they're the little digital recorders,
Well, yeah, now the new ones, recorded in MP3. Mine didn't record it in MP3; it recorded it in waves.
Got little
Right.
USB right
Yeah,
in them.
now it has the little USB hookup where before I had to like plug 3 cords together.
I know,
and
right?
And then you
Run
always
it,
Revert
run
it.
it, run it through
right?
my ceiling, and
Yeah.
call the cable
Through the
company, and
neighbor's
then
apartment.
keep my fingers crossed that it would actually transfer to my computer. Now you just plop it in like a flash drive, and you put it right on your computer. So I need to get a new recorder.
Me too.
Yeah.
What was our last investigation?
Would have been Vicky's, I'm guessing.
Was it?
Or was it Demoda?
Oh, that's right.
It was the hair salon. That was our last
Well,
investigation.
right in.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive that was our last investigation.
I don't remember.
It's been a while. We've had some here, little ones at the school.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
as a group, I think maybe it was.
I think it was. And we got EVPs there, but not like whisper ones.
A lot of them, though.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm
that place.
puzzled as far as how the process works for getting an EVP onto a recorder.
That's crazy, because I guess I've never even stopped to really think
No, neither have
How-
I.
Yeah.
That's sad.
how that actually... I know, right?
Well,
Call ourselves paranormal investigators.
As long as
but
you
I
get
don't
one,
care how
right?
it gets there, just as long as we
I
have
don't
it.
think anyone can really. I mean, who would know, and how would you prove it?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
Nobody really knows the answers to
But
any of those
also, then
questions.
there's we'll get into that later. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Basically, there's 2 theories for EVP. What do you think the 2 theories are?
aliens.
No.
Kurt's,
It's always
Kurt's
aliens.
stomach. I think.
There's 2 theories. Theory number 1, it's not real. A lot of people say it is auditory pareidolia, which is defined as the tendency to perceive a specific, often meaningful image in a random or ambiguous visual pattern, or the human ability to see shapes or make images out of randomness.
It's like matrixing.
It's matrixing.
Yeah.
Yeah, pareidolia.
I don't agree with that at all.
I
mean,
do in a way because of, I told you about that time at JFK Prep when I got a EVP on my recorder that I've listened to and cleaned up, and I was 100% convinced that I knew what it was saying, and it was clear as day to me. And then looking at my notes, I realized what I was listening to was the sound of me peeing outside by a tree.
Well, I guess
And
that.
I
but
honest to God, thought it was saying like a phrase. Like I heard a phrase, and it was just the sound of me peeing. So
well, I agree with that.
understand.
Everybody hears something
like
different,
that.
but
Yeah.
there
What
is
about the
still
singing?
something you're hearing.
Yeah.
You know?
The singing
yeah.
at the theater.
Yes.
Yeah, like that one that we're gonna play.
Clear as
We're gonna
day.
play later is clear as day. Some of them are clear as day, but then there's other ones that aren't. So the ones that aren't clear as day, I could see being reading too much into something.
Right.
Sure.
Or the suggestion of what one person hears and then all of a sudden that person hears.
I'll say right now that I think maybe that auditory pareidolia is responsible for some of it.
Some.
Oh gosh,
But
yeah.
I think EVP is a real thing.
Oh,
I honestly
absolutely.
do. So that's theory number 1. It's not real. And
Okay.
theory number 2, it's
It's
real.
real.
You got it. Krista got it.
Shocker, yeah.
And there's
a
4
50%
separate
chance.
This, Krista.
There's usually 4 separate theories as to it being real. Theory number 1, spirit voices, voices of those who have died. And this makes sense.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think it could be a multitude of different things. It doesn't have to
Yeah,
just be
it
one
could be a
thing.
multitude of different things. I think sometimes it's different things. You know, everyone might be a different thing. I mean, I think
Right.
we've caught voices from people that have passed on.
Sure.
I really do.
Yeah.
So that's theory number 1, is that it's spirit voices. Theory number 2 is that it's psychic imprints caused by us. And this goes back to the
By
Philip
us.
the Ghost experiment in the early 70s,
sure. Yeah.
where
They created it.
a group of researchers got together to try to create a ghost. That they created this whole backstory for the ghost. They knew the ghost's favorite food when he was alive. They knew all this stuff about the ghost. And they wanted it to become so real to them that they actually did create paranormal phenomenon happening from this ghost that they created. So there's some people that think that the EVPs are actually our psychic minds wanting to hear something and putting something on the recorder. Rhonda's skeptical about that one.
No. I could maybe buy into that because they say we use such a small portion of our brain
Yeah.
that
But what about EVPs where they say something that maybe you wouldn't have known or
Speak in another language that
or
you
speak
don't
in another
speak.
language that you don't speak in? I could see this being a possibility for some EVPs too.
Sure. I think any of these theories are possibilities for some E EVPs.
Yep. So that's a second theory, psychic imprints caused by us. The third theory, demons. A lot of people believe that,
Oh,
that
yes.
a lot of people believe that there are no ghosts, that when you die, you go on.
Especially with the Ouija board.
Yeah, once you get into that kind of stuff.
Especially if you think you're talking to a child.
Yeah,
You're probably not.
yeah. That was one thing I remember from when we were doing Vicky's, that I was convinced that the little child spirit that was there that we might have caught on the EVP was a harmless girl. And Barry just kept saying, I think you're thinking that it's way more innocent than it might be.
Something pretending to be something else to gain your trust.
Yep.
that's something that, especially when we first started doing investigations, that I know that we would have family or friends say to us, especially very religious family and friends, you know, swore then that's demons. You're communicating with demons, and it's,
And you're going to have an attachment.
Yeah, you're going to have
follow
something
you
attached
home.
to you. You need to do a protection. You need to cleanse yourself when you get home. But there's a lot, especially like the really religious people think that you do not stay here after you die. You go to heaven or hell. And they
anything
think that
remaining-
anything that you're
yeah.
communicating with is a demonic. So that's creepy to think about.
Sure is.
it is. But again, I don't know.
Yeah. And lastly, the last theory is that it's a time/dimensional anomaly.
I like that one.
I do too. I've
Something
always liked
bleeding
this
over
one where
from another dimension.
yeah, where like this is this is right up my alley because I love this stuff. The time stuff, the dimensional stuff, where like say there are parallel universes, like a very close parallel universe. You could be sitting on your couch watching TV, and then all of a sudden you hear somebody say, "Who am I talking to?" From the other dimension, trying for EVP, and then you answer, "The hell are you?"
Where deja vu comes?
Yeah, deja vu is very likely from parallel universes. That's what some people think. I kind of think that too, but people think that it could be like a snippet of voice traveling back in time that you just happen that's just bleeding over that you happen to catch. But then that doesn't explain how some EVPs are direct answers to questions that you ask.
Well, that would mean to me that it's not a time slip.
It would be
it's
a paradimensional slip.
You're just bleeding into each other. The walls are a little thin at the moment.
But then you get EVPs where the person knowingly says that they have died. So, like you said, it could be all four of these. All four of these are possibilities for where EVPs come from.
What about the fact that there are some that believe that environmental elements can contribute too, like limestone?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Running water.
Yeah, they think that those things can basically... I should have actually had that in there, too, because that's a theory, is that even the building, the foundation of the building, like you said, limestone and stuff like that, can act like a recording device, that it might actually record something that happened there. And that's like a residual haunting.
Right.
Where it's just something that plays over all the time, and it's not actively knowing what it's doing. And that's a very possible cause for EVPs too, is that there is some kind of residual energy there that's stored there.
Right. If I remember correctly, like from your research, when we investigated at JFK Prep, that there's a lot of limestone.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of why we thought maybe we got as many EVPs as what we did when we investigated out there.
JFK Prep was interesting. I love that place.
That was the best place.
Stop
Krista didn't get.
Sorry.
Krista wasn't
with us.
Krista wasn't with us yet at the
If we
time.
could go back
I
in
know.
time,
you would totally be there.
Would have been
Oh
with
my God,
us.
yeah.
But I
The
think
best
that's
place.
definitely my favorite.
We were one of the few
everything.
groups that actually got to do a legitimate investigation there with the owner.
Multiple. How many times?
I think I just say my second favorite would be definitely Elsing's.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It felt like a second home.
Yeah.
We were there so many
Exactly.
times.
Yep.
We'll get into those when we'll reminisce when we do the actual play the actual EVPs. But those are, I was going to say 4, but Rhonda did add the limestone or quartz or whatever, or the building itself acting as like a recording device.
Elements.
Especially if something like traumatic happened there, that maybe it records an imprint of what happened there, and that's what you're hearing with EVPs. It could be one of these, it could be none of these, it could be a combination of all these.
Combination of all.
Yeah.
Most
I think
people,
so, too.
most people that hear EVP go with the first one, that it's a spirit, that's a ghost. So according to Sarah Estep, when she started her group, there are 3 classifications for EVPs. There's the Class A EVP, which is a clear and distinct voice or sound that is universally accepted and undisputed because it must be understood by anyone with normal hearing and without being told or prompted to what is being said or heard. It can be heard without the use of headphones.
That can be rare.
That's very rare.
Very
That's the
rare.
thing. That's what you want. That's like the holy grail of
EVPs.
paranormal investigating, is getting a Class A EVP. Class B EVP, a voice or sound that is distinct and fairly loud. This class of voice is more common and can be heard by most people after being told what to listen for. It is usually audible to experienced persons who have learned the skill of listening to EVP. It can sometimes be heard without the use of headphones. A lot of the ones we get
That's
are
pretty
kind of...
common.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is you don't want to lead someone.
That's exactly the problem, is
You
that...
know?
Right.
Well, that's why when we present the EVPs that we're going to put on here, we're not going to tell you at first what
we
to
think they're
hear,
saying, yeah.
but we'll play it again after that. There's classification C EVP, which we get a lot, and it's frustrating. It's a faint and whispery voice or sound that can barely be heard and is sometimes indecipherable and unintelligible. It may have paranormal characteristics such as a mechanical or shimmery sound. Most investigators would apply objectivity and disregard it, but may save it for reference purposes. I do that a lot. I have a lot of clips that are interesting, but you can't really present them as evidence because...
Right.
You know, and
If you're skeptical of it
yeah,
and you're the one who caught it.
I wasn't even going to really say this, but on our last episode,
Oh, right, yeah.
We left the room for a little bit because Krista and I thought we heard voices in the hallway, and I kept that part in the episode because at one point, I swear that when I listen to it with good headphones, while Krista and I are out in the hallway, I hear what sounds like a breath or a really, really faintly whispered word into the microphone while Krista and I are out in the hallway.
And I haven't had I listened to the episode, but not through headphones. I'm in my car, so I have to do it with headphones.
It's very,
on that
very
spot.
hard to hear, and it could very well be nothing. But that's kind of why I left it in there, is because I was kind of curious to see if anybody would say that they heard
Right,
it.
yeah.
So maybe that's
Nobody
just...
did.
No.
They will now.
Kurt, can you read the classification A again?
Classification A. A clear and distinct voice or sound that is universally accepted and undisputed because it must be understood by anyone with normal hearing and without being told or prompted to what is being said or heard.
Okay, that's our singing one.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it was like another person in the room.
Or Mark's, too. I think Mark's is a
Yeah.
Class A EVP, but we'll get to those.
Okay.
So would an EVP be different, say, than a disembodied voice?
Yeah, because...
You would hear a disembodied voice with your own ears.
yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, we've heard that on Investigations.
Yes.
Here, we've heard that here. We
Yeah,
hear
we've
voices
heard, we
here
heard
all
that.
the time.
We heard that here that one time like crazy.
Well, I think that's a big thing when you're doing an investigation. Know your surroundings, know the noise
That's
in
the
the
thing,
neighborhood.
though, is that
know...
where the school is, granted, we're in an abandoned, empty school
But
most
there
of
are
the
a lot
time,
of
but there are a
houses.
lot of houses around here, and there's a donkey right over.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
There's
donkey.
Aw,
Yeah, there's a donkey
yeah,
right
it's
over there that
great.
you can
Yeah.
sometimes hear when we leave.
That's
we can hear
awesome.
it.
You know, old houses make
Yeah,
noises.
yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
you have to be. I'm very guilty of that because I think I'm easily persuaded to buy into EVPs, and my outside peeing experience showed me that. So I was convinced that was an EVP, and
Oh, it was a good stream. Good.
it was
flow.
it was a
Literally.
it was a healthy
Figuratively.
one.
must have been the sauerkraut.
There's one more classification. That is classification R, which stands for... What would R stand for?
Really not an EVP.
No. Reversed. That's when you get an EVP that you play backwards. I've heard... I think I maybe
I've
heard
never
one
done
of
that.
Why
those.
would a
Just
ghost
saying.
talk?
I don't
in
know.
reverse?
That's when people
To
would
me, I
think...
think
That's
you're
like
stretching
demonic
that.
stuff.
Yeah, but that's demonic stuff because
Yeah.
demons supposedly, you got the whole backwards messages and music thing, and
Yeah.
people think that if you get a reversed EVP, it's demonic. But I've never heard a reversed EVP that I really bought into. Because it even...
I'm not sure I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I've heard
sure that I
I've heard a
want
couple,
to.
and I was like, no.
Yeah.
So those are the classifications of EVPs.
All right, sir.
And
Interesting.
now I'm going to play an EVP that
Without
I think
further ado.
fits into each of those three classifications.
Okay.
So
Are these our EVPs?
the first one is one that I the very first time I went out with a recorder I got,
Okay.
and that's a Class C, which is not so hot.
Okay.
But you can hear what sounds like something there.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, like I said, put on some headphones, put on some good earphones to listen to these. What we're going to do is I'm just going to play it, and then we're going to listen to it, and then we'll talk about it, react to it, and then we'll play it one more time for you guys to listen to again. This first one is an example of a Class C EVP.
Okay.
I caught this the very first time I went out with my recorder. I went to the cemetery where my mom is buried. And I remember for a fact where I was. I was standing near my mom's grave, but somebody else's grave, and I just set my recorder on top of their grave. And in the clip, you're going to hear me ask if there's anyone here. So, and then I'll tell you, because there's nothing to really pick out on this one, but after I say that, you're going to hear like a weird, it almost sounds like a muttering kind of conversation or something like that, where you can hear something is there, but you can't really make anything out. So this is a Class C EVP, not very good one, but something is there.
Is anybody here?
So you
I
can
actually
hear
think
it.
that's creepy as hell.
You can hear it. You can hear like a muttering.
You can't
You
discern
can't make
any of it.
There is one part, and this could be me reading too much into it, but I went in the past and I went and cleared it up and cleaned it up, and I think that I hear the words Jesus Christ in whatever that muttering is.
It sounds like a man.
It sounds like a male voice, but you can hear that there is something
You sound really young.
I was. But you can hear that there is something there. And it wasn't, my recorder was sitting still on the top. You can hear a wind. You can hear the wind sound.
Right.
So you know it's not the wind making that because you can actually pick up the wind sound, but my recorder was just sitting there.
And there was nobody else in the area?
No, there was nobody else in the
yourself?
area. Nope, I was all by myself. But you can hear that there's something that sounds like it's trying to say something.
And it was multi-words.
Yeah, it was like a sentence or a phrase.
Yeah. Do you want to play it again?
Yep, we'll play it again.
Is anybody here?
There's like a weird...
That's crazy.
Okay, so it sounds like whatever it is like labored breathing.
Yeah,
It
like
can
it's
only
fighting,
say
like
the
it's fighting,
words
and a
with
lot of
every
people
breath.
say
Yeah.
that EVPs are kind of like that, where whatever is
rhythmic.
using it is like it takes so much energy for them to communicate that they sound out of breath and like it's really labored.
I wish I had my headphones to listen
I
right now
know.
because
Yeah.
it sounds. Just
There are headphones.
Just listening to it with you holding. Up
I
the
hear like a
computer.
noise at the end too, but that could have been a
Yeah,
bird
it's
or
like a weird
something.
breathy kind of
Sounds
noise.
kinda
No, I heard
creepy.
like
Boy,
a
we've had a lot of those. Type
Yeah,
of
we've
EVPs.
caught a lot of those, but this is an example of a Class C where
there's clearly something there.
There's
We just
clearly
can't.
something there, and I wouldn't really present this as evidence because you have no idea what the thing is saying. You can just say that there is something there.
Now, do each spirit have different levels of energy that they can, which would make them clear or not? I mean,
I don't know.
I suppose it depends on how not persistent, but how motivated they are to communicate.
yeah.
Yeah, but
don't
I
know.
mean, it could also be like one of the.
What energy do they
A
have
lot
to
of people
draw
think
from?
that's why
Yeah.
batteries and all that stuff
Yeah.
dies so fast during an investigation is because whatever is there
They're pulling.
is
from
pulling the energy out of the batteries and stuff in order to
Manifest
manifest their voice or however they do it, But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But this sounds like a breathy, like an out of breath.
Very out
To
of
me,
breath.
it always sounded like
Yes.
a man, an older man,
Old
out
man.
of breath, like
That's probably
really.
the man whose grave you put your recorder on. He was
Right.
like,
Get-
Probably
Get
cussing
it
you.
up.
Yeah, get your damn.
Jesus Christ, get your recorder off my
My grave.
headstone.
That's very
Have
possible.
some respect here, man.
But it sounds like he is frantically trying to convey a message,
Mm-hmm.
and it just didn't come through enough.
Well, it's
Last
definitely
dying
something.
breath.
There's something there. I mean, I don't
I mean,
know. I don't.
And,
I
and
can't
what
think of-
would you explain it to be otherwise?
I don't
then?
know. There's
You
no
know?
other explanation for that other than there's some kind of voice there because, like I said, you can hear the wind at that one point kind of blow by the recorder, so you know that's not the same sound as the sound of the
Right.
guy talking. But that's a Class C because it's there, but
Sure.
no idea what it's saying.
Okay.
The next one is a Class B, which is better than
B
the
is
Class
for
C.
better?
B is for better. This one is actually pretty good. So this one, it could have even been rated higher. But I also wanted to use this one because this one is an example of the investigator hearing the EVP.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I'm not going to say what
Yeah,
it
let's just
says
listen.
during it. So here is, I have no idea who caught these either. These were just ones I got off the internet years ago. So here is the second one, an example of a Class B.
Is anyone here? No way.
So that's an
that-
example.
That gave me the chills.
And-
Well, which
It
well,
should have been pretty.
Were both of them?
Yeah, that's what I wonder.
No, what's going on in that one is the one who says, "Is there anybody here?"
Is
is
guy
the investigator.
recording. Yep.
And then shortly after that, you hear what sounds like a little kid say, "I'm here."
Yeah.
And then,
And then you hear the investigator go, "No,
No
way.
way.
Like he heard that, and then you hear the kid giggle.
Okay, so the kid did speak twice.
Yes.
Okay.
Kid. I use
Yeah.
the air
See, that's what I
quotes.
was
Yep.
questioning.
Yeah,
too,
it said, the guy
You don't know that
said,
that's
"No
a
way,"
kid.
and then you can hear the kid giggle.
Yeah.
This wasn't an EVP from any of our
No, it was one that I got
investigations.
off the internet. It was on a
Just to
group
clarify.
posted this.
Okay,
So
let's hear it again.
I will play it again.
Is anyone here? No way.
Yeah.
It
so-
sounds like he says,
Yeah.
no way, yeah. And the kid
Yeah.
goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see, and I hear the kid giggle. I don't hear it.
I
Yeah,
hear the kid
but
go,
hear
yeah.
yeah, without
okay,
a doubt.
maybe you guys are right.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the guy's like, no way.
But
It's
like
yeah.
that one
Yeah.
is that one I put as Class B because it's clearer
Still
And
pretty faint though.
It's still pretty faint.
I thought the yeah was almost as strong
Yeah,
as
but-
I
Him
was like,
talking.
is there
Yeah.
another? Is there like an actual
Yeah.
live child in the
So
room?
I
with
would
them?
put
Yeah.
that maybe between a class
It's an
A and
AB.
class B. It's an AB.
I think
But
of-
it's an example of it doesn't happen very often, but that's an example of where the investigator actually heard the first voice and then responded with no way, and then the giggle or the yeah.
Actually, I've had that happen to me. When I heard Vicky say my name.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
she did not say
That
my
was
name.
weird. Yes.
And I caught that on audio. We'll have to play that sometime.
Yeah.
We were all there. And I remember the conversation very clearly because I said something like, "What, Vicky, did you say something to me?" And she said, "What?" Or something like that. And I said, "You just said my name." And I remember distinctly she said, "No, I did not."
Yeah.
And then you play it back and you can hear Vicky say
so
Krista.
yeah,
And
so
her
you-
Vicky is a smoker and has this sort of
Raspy.
deeper,
Little
raspy
raspy
voice
voice, yeah.
for a woman. Her voice is very distinct. So I forgot that. I actually caught an EVP
and it
that
sounded
I
like
heard
Vicky.
saying
Yeah,
my name. Yeah.
So yeah, that was.
We'll
it
have to
doesn't
play that
happen.
one.
It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, and
Yeah.
this EVP was kind of proof that. So now we get to a Class A EVP, where I'm not going to tell you what you're going to hear, but here we go.
I'm completely dead.
What you're hearing, it's hard for us to hear it
I'm
on
like,
this thing.
how is that a class A when we're all like, what?
It's hard to hear unless you
Another
have
one.
like headphones on, but
Okay.
you can hear like very clearly what sounds like a female voice say, "I'm completely dead."
Okay.
I'm completely dead.
Yeah. Before it just sounded squeaky to me.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
I hear the woman's voice actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a Class A because it's crystal. I mean, it's crystal clear that you can hear that it is a woman's voice,
Yeah.
And you can hear exactly what
and you
she's
can hear her saying, "I'm
Although
completely."
you had to tell me what she was saying.
Yeah.
before I
but it's
could
also
hear
because
it.
I'm holding my computer up,
Well,
so
like
you
you
guys
said,
are listening to
because-
them
right,
It'd be
from
weird.
across the
It'd
table.
be weird for her to say I'm not completely dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you said too. If we had headphones on,
Yeah, that would have been
a lot.
But
Very
this I
good.
also wanted to use as an example because I've kind of come across a lot of EVPs where this, whatever it is, either states that they're dead or like shows surprise that they're dead, like they don't know that they're dead.
and just to clarify, that was not an EVP from one
Nope,
of our
that was
investigations.
from a-
That
from
Only
a
the
group.
first one was.
From a group. Yep, the only one was the first one where you heard that like weird, like somebody trying to talk.
Okay.
So that was a Class A because it's very clear. It's very clearly a voice, and it's clearly saying, "I'm completely dead."
Okay.
Now, these next two I have are like examples of, like just two different examples. Sometimes you get a sound, not an actual word, but you hear a sound. So here's this one that I never want to hear during an investigation.
wailing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like a terrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
That'd be
So
right,
a lot of
right
times-
out the door.
A lot of that's from, I don't know what group that is, but a group posted that as one of the EVPs they got, and it's clearly somebody like a
screaming.
terror, or
Yes.
either a painful or a terror screaming. So you get a lot of ones like that where it's just like in the background you can hear like a
That
screaming.
happened at JFK Prep.
Yep, they did happen at JFK Prep. And a lot, and like here's
Remember
another.
Are we going to listen to that one from JFK Prep?
No.
Eventually?
No.
Oh, okay. See, there's so many we could listen.
I
We need
know.
an episode too.
And here's one that I thought was interesting too. This one was from somebody else's investigation.
That's not the one from our.
No,
No.
Oh,
It
okay.
it sounds like it's a male with a sing-song voice saying "No more."
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them that have kind of like this weird sing-song
Yeah.
like voice, which I don't know why that happens. And this one sounds like almost either a fun or a taunting male voice saying "No more." So I thought that was interesting because that actually pops up a lot too.
Yeah.
So now we get to several EVPs that we caught because we've talked about these for so long, and you guys can finally hear these now. This first one I caught when I was in Stoughton at Elsing's secondhand shop, and you guys know which one this is once I start talking about it. I was there completely by myself in the building. It was one of the 2 times that I did a solo investigation where I was locked in the building completely by myself. So at this point, I had brought my recorder down to the furniture room in the basement, which is where a lot of things happened. And I put my recorder down there, and I went back upstairs. My sleeping bag was by the checkout register area. and I was laying there.
Safe zone.
The safe zone. I was laying there reading a magazine, and like a half hour later, I went down and got my recorder again. So when I reviewed my audio, this showed up on my recorder when there was nobody else in the building, and I was upstairs reading.
And your
on my
recorder
sleeping
was
bag.
downstairs?
And my recorder was downstairs. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of disagreement about what people hear. I personally hear the name Michael.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And weren't you talking about a Michael?
What was weird was that the week before we investigated, I think Vicky had told me that another group had been there to investigate, and they had a psychic named Michael in their group going around trying to communicate with the spirit. So I thought that was really interesting because there's a voice there.
I hear
Definitely.
something.
And what's interesting is when you listen to it, before you hear the loud Michael, you can also hear
There's
like
something.
another,
Yeah.
like it's trying to say Michael again, but it's like quieter and like breathier. Like it's trying to manifest the energy in order to actually say the Michael that I caught. So, but there's a voice saying something, which makes no sense because I was the only one in the building and there was
Your name's not
nobody.
Michael.
Yeah, and there was nobody downstairs.
Right.
So we will play that one again.
It sounds like a kid again.
Yeah.
Sounds like Lights Out or
See,
something.
some people see.
this time now, because I remember
The story
this,
behind it,
Yes, and listening to it again now, how many years later, at first I heard "wake up."
Yeah, a lot of people.
You know, it's just
a lot of people hear different things in that.
Yeah.
I very clearly hear it say the name Michael. So listeners,
It's like 2 syllables or 2
yeah.
words. Or,
But then there is also the breathy before
There's
that,
something
and it's
before.
saying what sounds
Yes.
like the same exact thing. Like it says it quieter, and then it says it louder.
so this would be a class
C.
C.
Yeah. I would
Because you
say
can't-
C.
No, I
Because-
would say B, because you can hear that there's.
breathy.
Yeah, but can you make it out? You know, like
Yeah, it says
Where,
Michael.
like, when
it
it's
says,
up in the
it says the
You-
name
you
Michael.
said
It
other
says
people
Michael.
think something
Yeah,
else.
Yeah.
listeners, let us know what you think,
Yeah.
what you hear in that. I mean, I think that that's a obvious EVP because there was nobody else in the building besides me, and
Well,
I
it's
wasn't.
definitely.
I wasn't
Oh, gosh,
downstairs,
yeah.
Yeah.
and there's a voice saying something. I think it's Michael.
No arguing with it. There's
I think
definitely
other
caught
people
something.
other people have even said that they hear other things, but I hear Michael.
And that, that's something so often too with EVPs.
breathy,
it's like
whispery.
what you hear.
Somebody else hears totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yep. So let us know what you think that one says.
Have you heard this whole Laurel
Yeah,
debate?
Oh my God.
exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
This next one, Krista and I were in Stoughton in Elsing's in the book room. And customers have reported, I know at least one small boy customer reported seeing a young girl walk into the wall in the book room area. And there's a lot of reports of a young girl spirit there. So setting up this EVP, Krista and I were sitting in the dark in the book room, and there's an exit light right outside the book room. So there's some ambient light. And we both thought we saw movement near the doorway to the book room.
A
A shadow. And there was nobody else down there. It was just Krista and I in the book room. So you're going to hear me say, is there anybody here with us in the clip? So here is the clip.
Is there anybody here with us right now?
Now, this is one that you might need headphones
Yeah,
for
it's
because a
very
lot of
faint.
people have a hard time hearing this one because it's faint.
Honestly, didn't hear it.
But
Oh, you didn't?
to us,
I know where it is, so I heard it
so
because I know what
we
to
hear
hit
it because we
listen
know
for.
what we're listening for.
Do you want
but
to put headphones on and listen to it?
Oh, it's all right. I'll listen to it another time.
Okay.
But what we hear is after I ask if there's anybody in there with us, we hear what sounds like a young girl giggle. It sounds like a playful giggle from a young girl.
So Vicky has Vicky's the owner of the building with her husband Phil. She hears just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't hear that at all. I
no,
hear a giggle.
I hear what sounds like a playful little girl's giggle.
Like
That
they can see me,
that
but
we
I don't want
caught
them to
her.
know I'm here. Like when a kid's playing hide and go seek, all they can do is laugh, and
Yeah.
you know where they are because they're laughing because they're terrible at hide and go seek.
But I just think like the chain of events was so good for this one where
Yeah.
you and I saw shadow moving near the door and we
Right.
asked a question and we hear what sounds to us like a little girl giggle.
And I had my recorder. I was sitting right next to you, and my recorder didn't pick anything
So
up.
again, that's one you might have to listen to a couple times. We're going to play it again for you right now because this one you have to really listen for. It comes right at the end of the clip. It sounds like a little girl giggling.
Is there anybody here with us right now?
Yeah.
Heard it that time.
Yep. So yeah.
I
always like
would
that
say
one.
that's a giggle. That's not a word.
There's a lot of people that have a hard time hearing
it's
that
like
one.
2-syllable giggles,
Yeah.
so that's why I think Vicky, how she would get that out of
We
it.
had more stuff with a little girl EVP or something there, didn't we?
I don't
My
think
memory
we
is
did.
horrible.
I don't
thought
remember. I don't
more
remember us getting
about a
more
little-
stuff with the little girl.
Maybe just the talk of it.
A female.
This next one is also from Stone, from Elsing's Secondhand Shop. This one you're
Surprise,
also going to
surprise.
want headphones or really good earphones because this one is very faint.
Shout out to Vicky, by the way.
Yes, big shout out to Vicky. We love
We
you,
miss
Vicky.
you
We
guys.
miss you.
Miss you, Vic.
So this one you're going to hear Krista ask a question. Would you be mad if I took your coat?
Yeah. So first, Anne, or is it? It was Anne.
I don't
was with
remember
me.
because I thought I knew what happened, but Vicky corrected me and said it didn't happen like that. But I swear that
So we had dowsing rods.
we had dowsing rods, and
Anne
you
was
were
using dowsing
somebody was
rods.
hiding. Somebody took a coat, like a fur coat. That's what I remember. Somebody took a
And I don't remember anybody hiding anything.
somebody. I remember somebody hiding something, and the dowsing rod still leading them to where the item was hid. And I want to say that what they hid was a coat, a fur
Okay.
coat.
We found it.
And they
I know
found it
that.
and they hung it back up where it was. And that's when you asked, you guys must have been talking about it, and you asked, would you be mad if I took your coat?
And then Anne must repeat the question. So
Anne
you're gonna hear
repeats
it
it,
repeated.
but between when Krista says it and when Anne repeats it, you need to listen very
oh, so
carefully.
it's between us?
It's between the
Okay.
two of you. So here we go.
Clearly, I haven't heard it in a
You're
while.
not going to hear this one live because you have to really be listening to your headphones.
Would you be mad if I took your coat and took it home with me? Would you be mad if Krista took your coat?
But I heard it.
What we hear is right after Krista asks, would you be mad if I took your coat? You can hear a very low female voice say, would you wear it?
Yeah.
And then after that, Anne repeats the question. But I mean, I can hear that one. When I have headphones on or earphones, I can hear, would you wear it? Clear as day. And there was nobody else there that would have recorded.
It was way back in the far
Yeah, it was way
corner
back in
of
the far
shop.
corner.
Everybody else was up in the front.
So
Let's play it again.
Okay, we're going to play it again. Listen for after Krista asks, would you be mad if I took your coat? You're going to hear a female voice whisper, would you wear it?
Would you be mad if I took your coat and took it home with me? Would you be mad if Krista took your coat?
So yeah,
It's a whisper.
It's a whisper, but I think it's
Yeah.
clear as day. I mean, I think that's
I think so too.
I would
and it's
almost- I would
an
almost-
answer to a question.
yeah. I would almost put that an A or
A minus?
an A minus, an A B.
Maybe
But
an
yeah,
A
that
plus.
one
Plus, yeah.
that one is a direct answer to a question.
Yeah.
So
So that's why it'd be classified as an A.
I would classify that as an A, but I wish it was louder because it's really faint. But
Yeah,
it's
put your
obviously an
headphones on.
answer to the question.
Yeah.
You didn't take that coat, did you?
No.
Okay.
Not into fur.
Okay.
Fur is murder. Sorry.
Hey.
Krista getting political.
Yeah.
This next one is also from Stoughton. As you can see, we had
There's a
we
theme.
had a
We
lot of
love
stuff happen
Stoughton.
there. And this one, I remember.
We did like 10 investigations.
yeah, I remember. I think Joe and Jeff really liked this one.
Okay. From Stoughton?
Yeah, this
Okay.
is actually the morning after an investigation. We were all upstairs milling around
Yep.
and just talking, and we had the recorders running, and
Yep.
we had another group there with us. And in this clip, you're going to hear us just talking, and you're going to hear Karen, who was a friend of ours from another group, say something about a little white toe or a little black toe.
Black toe.
So
Yep.
what you want to listen to in this one is the background. The background, not us talking, but you want to listen to the background. Here we go.
He doesn't know any better yet. I just got one little black toe on the left front and two on the right.
Yeah, right. Toenails, not yet.
I gave me
Okay,
the chills.
wait. Okay, now wait.
Whereabout was it?
So what we hear in that clip is you hear us
Once
talking.
you hear us say it, you'll hear it.
yeah, once you
clear
hear
as
us say it, you'll hear what we hear.
Yeah.
But You were all in there talking. Karen says something about one little black toe or one little white toe, whatever. She was talking about a doll.
Oh.
But in the background, what we hear sounds like we think a little boy
Yep.
saying help us, help us. And then he repeats it again. He says, help us a second time.
But it's in like a weird, help us, help us.
So,
he says it twice.
Yeah, listen to the background. Here again is the clip where we hear what sounds like the little boy saying, help us, help us.
He doesn't know any better yet. I just let it get away. He's got one little black toe on the left front and two on the right.
Yeah, right. Toenails, not yet.
Definitely, yeah.
I
So
hear it, but are we sure that's an EVP and that wasn't?
Somebody in the group.
I really don't think that was somebody in the group.
It's so long ago that
I know,
couldn't
but
say
I don't.
that
I
for
think that
certain.
sounds.
But the thing is, we
obviously
caught
that was
this. Like,
I was going to
we
say,
listened
obviously
the
it
day
was earmarked as
after.
a-
Yeah,
as
we
the
listened to it like the day after we
initially,
got
but-
it, and
See, that's the big thing with investigating. You try to rule.
yeah, but
call stuff
it's so hard because so many
Yes.
times you're not thinking and you say something under your breath when you're trying for EVPs and you forget to say, "Whoops,
And a
that was me."
whisper
Yeah, that was
can
me
carry
whispering.
Yeah,
farther
there's been
than
so many times that I thought I caught an EVP and then I realized it's
or
me
someone
whispering.
talking outside or walking down
Right.
the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is one time too. We unfortunately nobody had. So that's what sparked us to use our recorders when we weren't investigating the day after.
Yeah.
Because we were all standing around in the front of the shop talking, and we all clearly heard someone whisper something. Was it a whisper?
Yeah.
And
It
we
was-
all looked
yeah,
at-
and we all
we all
looked at each other.
stopped,
We're like,
and
was
we were
that
like,
you?
was that you?
And it was
Was
like
that
in the
you?
middle of all of us.
It was
Yeah.
like whatever it was there with us
That was
and
a,
wanted
that was
to
a
participate.
disembodied voice.
Yeah, and
yeah.
we all heard it.
And
and
nobody had their
a recorder
recorders
running.
going.
Yeah.
So
And
from
it's-
that day
it's-
on, we
yeah.
always had our recorders going.
It's
Yeah.
probably one of my fondest memories from one of our investigations.
Yeah.
For sure, was that moment.
We all
and it's
shared
funny
that
'cause-
moment.
Yeah, because there was just a slight pause amongst all of us because I think we were all sitting there and thinking, did
Who
so-and-so
said that?
just say that or
Yeah.
so-and-so? And then I think Kurt finally said, did you guys just say something? And
Yeah, because
then
we all heard this
we're
voice
like,
say
no,
something.
but
and
did
we're
you
all
hear
looking
that?
at each other
You know,
like,
excitement.
who was that?
I just got the chills from that.
Yeah, yes.
So yeah, I mean, I hear help us.
Yeah.
That clear as day. Some people hear different things.
It's just so weird how sing-songy kind of it is. You
So
know
many
what I mean?
EVPs
It really
have that
stands
weird
out.
sing-song quality, and it sounds like a boy that needs help saying, help us,
Yeah.
help us.
I mean, either way, there's
something
definitely
there.
something.
But like you said, are we 100% sure that's not one of us? No.
This
95%
far from
sure.
it, the day after, I probably could have said, "Oh,
Yeah.
definitely not," but I just don't remember anymore, even how many people were in there.
yeah,
or,
we're getting
you know.
old.
But
Yeah.
that was
There's
that was a clip that was
You're
marked
marked as an EVP.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, shortly after the time of the investigation. So obviously,
We
it
have to
was-
trust that.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and now listening back, however many years later, without headphones, mind you,
Yeah.
it's like, is that just a lot of clutter from the rest of the group?
Right. Or somebody having a conversation we're not aware of where
Right.
they're suddenly getting animated and
Okay, the second last EVP, we only got really one more after this and then the funny one. But we have this one, a lot of people like, is we were investigating a business in Manitowoc that for a while, I don't want to say what it was because I don't know if we're supposed to, but it was a business that was shut down for a little while and it was converted to a church.
right.
And then it reopened as what it originally was. And the owner actually had, not the owner, but one of the managers actually had us come in.
People didn't want to work there.
Because people didn't want to work there because people were experiencing so many things. So we went in for an investigation.
Definitely had a creepy vibe.
It totally
was
had a
an
creepy
old
vibe.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went in for an investigation. And this is a really interesting clip. In this clip, you're going to hear...
None of us can explain this.
No, I was upstairs at the time. And
I was in the room. I was in that room for sure.
I came walking down the stairs to the room where you guys were.
I think you.
Yeah, because you can hear Rhonda in
Kurt,
the clip.
yeah,
She
Curdy Kurt.
says Curdy Kurt. So you're going to hear Rhonda's voice in this clip say Curdy Kurt as I come walking down the stairs. But again, listen to the background here. We have no
Actually,
explanation.
it's really close to the microphone.
Yeah,
if you
we
ask
have
me.
no explanation for this. Here we go. What do you think?
That one still gets me.
Yeah.
Was that like a oh?
It's like
Yeah,
I the very
singing.
first time I heard
Yeah.
it, it
It's like a
sounded.
hymn.
I thought it was a hymn. It sounded like somebody in the background, like singing part of a religious hymn.
I hear "Oh sin,"
I
and
he-
then there's a pause, and then there's like a "what not." There's like a
See,
second part
I
to
hear
it.
"Oh sin." I hear the
Yeah.
words "Oh sin."
I hear that, but there's a second part that you stopped before it played.
Oh, that's just
There's
where the
two
clip. That's
parts
where the
to
clip
it.
ended.
Now that was in a place where there was
A
music.
church at one time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so there
that
would have
was.
been-
It was a church, and then it was converted back into what it. Well, it was a.
It was a movie theater.
It was
for
a
crying
movie
out loud.
theater. Yeah,
Yeah.
More
it was
than
a.
one
just-
theater.
It was a movie theater that
in
was
Manitowoc.
shut down and then turned into a church and then returned into a movie theater. And
Yeah.
we have
We were in, like, the
nobody
projection
that
room.
was down there was singing. There was no. That's none of our voices.
It's
there
a
was
man.
Yeah, there was nobody singing.
No.
We just have no explanation for that, but it's just you can hear clear as day what sounds like somebody singing a hymn or something in the background. So
wait to the very end though. Let it play all the way to
I
the
did.
end.
It just stops.
I think you
yeah.
cut part of it off
No,
then.
here we go.
Let's see what we got here.
There, that's
no,
the second
that
part.
sounded like I think that was us.
No, that's part of it. I've always said that's part of the EVP.
I think that's
It's
one of.
still in the same voice. It's the same exact voice.
That's one of us. I'm convinced.
Didn't that
sounds
almost sound
a
like
female.
ooh, Kurt?
No.
Yeah, I
No.
almost thought I heard
No, I
your
hear
name.
Osin.
I hear oh sin. I think that last part is one of maybe the girl that was
That was a
had us
man.
in.
Oh, I hear the same exact voice that's singing.
See, and I
Same
hear a
exact
totally
voice.
different voice.
I do too.
I just
At
hear
the very end, yeah.
I
Isn't
just
that crazy how everyone,
Yeah,
you know, you all
interprets.
hear
but we
something
definitely
different.
hear the oh sin
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
singing
the
I gotta hear, yeah.
the singing part. You want to hear it once more?
Yeah, please.
All right, here we go.
Let's see what we got here.
You're right. Yeah, you definitely hear the S sound.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like ooh sin.
I hear Osin.
But yeah,
It almost sounds like the start of the "Oh, say again."
Yeah, a little
Oh,
bit.
with all of these, let us know what you guys think. We're curious to hear what you think of that.
Yeah,
it's still in my
no matter
ears.
what you hear.
That
you
a
know,
lot of
'cause
people
we
really
all
like
hear
this one, and
different.
I have no explanation for this because none of us were singing.
No.
It's just really weird.
Yeah.
And that gets us to our best EVP, which was caught by none other than Mark Zahn,
Mark,
Ta-da.
who is
Mark
here
and
with us
Zahn.
today.
Ooh, Mark.
So
Sorry, that was me.
what you're going to hear in this clip is we were in one of the rooms at JFK Prep. And we mentioned JFK
I know. I was
Prep a
gonna say we should
lot.
probably explain what
JFK
is.
Prep is
Amazing.
amazing. It's in a town in Manitowoc. It's in a town in Wisconsin here called St. Nazianz. It is an abandoned prep school, or like it was a high school at one time.
Catholic.
My
right?
mom
Catholic
went
high
there
school.
for a little bit, or was
And
there.
originally it was a seminary. It was a Salvatorian seminary.
Definitely not for that.
And it showed up that it was an orphanage for a while. And if you're into ghost,
It's a huge
if you're into
campus.
ghost investigating, this is seriously, we always say that this is a ghost hunter's wet dream.
It's
because it
multi-buildings.
is
How
a
many-
high school
Yeah.
building. It is dorm buildings.
A church.
It is a cemetery.
Yeah.
And it is a church, and it is tunnels.
And there's a paper building or some
Yeah,
printing building.
building.
There's a
Yeah.
printing building.
There's
but
a
they're,
tunnel.
Yeah. Like I said,
Tunnels connected.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's
a school, a
and
church,
the
a
architecture. It's
cemetery.
old school. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's beautiful.
oh my
It's just
God.
amazing, and we were one of the very few groups that got to do an actual investigation. A lot of times, the owners, they've had an insane amount of problems with people breaking in because it has such a reputation as being haunted.
Used to host haunted houses.
It
there
used to
too.
host haunted houses. I know people that worked there for haunted houses and had stuff happen to them, so it's very active.
But it was always peaceful.
Well, that's
to
the
me.
thing
It
is
never
that
felt-
all of
There's
us,
a draw to it.
Krista wasn't
Yeah.
there for the investigation, but all of us, all of us talked about how we just felt so drawn
Yeah.
and so happy to be there.
I mean,
And
I've been there, just not an
Yeah,
investigation.
but
And
you
I
just-
think
it-
all the senses too. We saw, we heard,
we felt. I mean, it was, but it's not like a usual haunted place where it feels foreboding or something
Right.
like that. I thought it felt really good being there.
I think
we
the
were all
dorm-
kind of we discussed how amazed we were. at,
I think the old dorms felt spooky.
It's like Harry Potter, you know. I mean,
But I love
was
it.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't keep me from. I mean, I just like you said, I'm just so drawn to the place.
Yeah.
But
And
the
we-
old dorms always
Freak
kind
you
of
out?
yes, they still.
But I remember Mark and I investigating, sitting down in the tunnels between the buildings, and this place is just beautiful. You can still go there.
It's a
They have a
thrift
thrift store.
But it's pretty worn down now and
It's,
probably
you can't go into
unsafe.
school anymore. It's probably not safe.
And the owners are
Don't want anything
very
to do
religious.
religious.
Very religious. Don't want anything to do with ghost
Would-
investigating. So do not
would love to
do
go
not
back.
break in there and check the place out.
But you can go. You have access
You can
to
walk
what?
around
The
the grounds and
cemetery,
stuff.
the in back.
Well, in the
the church you
church.
can't get into right now.
You can't?
The last couple of times that Kurt and I went out to the thrift
it was
store, that
locked.
was locked.
yeah,
But I
they're
think,
trying to restore it.
Yeah,
I
they
think.
were working on
I think
it.
because of the structural issues.
Well, and there was some vandalism.
I would still love to do a
just so
whole
sad.
episode about.
But
JFK
anyone
Prep
could
because
go
the whole
out
history
there.
of St. Nazians is fascinating, like paranormally fascinating.
We should do a JFK prep episode.
But in this clip, you're gonna. I think we were in the dorms or in one of the rooms underneath the dorms. We were in the room with the owner of the property at the time, Jerry. And what you're going to hear in the clip, we told him to ask a question. So you're going to hear Jerry, the owner, say, "What should I do with this place?" And then you're going to hear Barry, who we talk about all the time. Love you, Barry.
Love you, Barry.
You're going to hear Barry. She is going to repeat his question and say, "What should he do with this place?" And you hear
Pretty clear answer.
pretty clear answer. So here we go.
What should we do with this place? What should we do with this place?
I love that.
So yeah.
That's so good.
So there we go. That is
that one still gets me too.
yeah.
You know,
You
it's
can
funny, though?
hear clear
You're right,
as day.
The
like
quality is
yeah.
so terrible.
You hear.
You
Oh my
know,
God.
just
Yeah.
the recorder
Because
quality.
it was
Yeah.
just such a
Yeah.
So
old,
muffled.
crappy.
Oh,
and-
big time.
But you can hear
God, the
a
response.
really
Yeah.
gruff
And
male
strong.
voice, a very
Yes.
strong,
Forceful.
gruff,
Very
male
emotional.
voice, very clearly
Yes.
say the word nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
So here we'll play it again.
What should we do with this place? What should we do with this place?
If I would have heard that when we were there out loud, I probably would have pooped myself.
It's like creepy, actually.
is.
I mean, it's almost demonic.
It's very creepy.
Yeah.
And it's funny that the clip goes on.
Yes.
Nobody reacts to it because none of us heard
No.
it.
Right.
And like I said earlier, when I listen to my recorder after Barry repeats his question, there's nothing. There's silence. But on Mark's recorder,
How you doing, Mike?
Oh, good. How about you?
on Mark's recorder, we get this answer.
Huh. Yeah.
And we have no explanation for it, but I think that is probably
Yeah.
the best EVP we
Yeah.
ever got.
Not
I remember
weak
when
at
you
all.
sent that to me, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I mean,
That's
that's
a good one.
seriously crazy.
I love
Still
direct
gives me
Yeah,
answers.
that still
it
gives
a
a lot of
Listen to it.
people.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Especially when you think of, the atmosphere there where we were sitting and, yeah, I mean, that was nothing,
You know, there's other ones that I didn't put on here, like that. The one where several times when I was investigating for the investigation, I would catch a voice on my recorder that sounded to me like a female voice saying the word care, C-A-R-E.
Well, don't you catch it saying Kurt?
I got it at least twice, and both times I have it marked as a voice saying care. And then when I went out to the building or to the property one day during the day to help Jerry kind of clean up the buildings, one of our clips has me. He went back to the main building to get a ladder. So I was in the dorm building by myself, and you can hear me moving wood. And at one point, you can hear
Sorry. We went there.
I can edit that out.
No, no, that out.
You can hear a female voice. And I heard Kerrigan, but you can hear what it's saying is Kurt.
Kurt, it's
with an
Kurt.
accent. It's like a voice with an accent saying my name, Kurt, like clear as day. So maybe we'll have a second
We have
EVP
to.
episode and play more
so.
EVPs for you guys.
That's a
But
great
this
place.
this one is our best. We'll play it again for you guys right now just because this one rocks.
What should we do with this place? What should we do with this place?
So there you go.
You know, one of my favorite EVPs that you caught
What?
when you were in a cemetery.
Oh my
Right?
God. Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't you explain that one? It's not an EVP. But
No,
it's
I didn't say that
hilarious.
because I was. We were in a
So
cemetery, and I
funny.
was sitting on a stump behind a building that was like a storage shed, like they had lawnmowers
Yeah.
and stuff in there. So I'm sitting there on this stump all by myself, with my recorder out, holding my recorder out, and I say, "Is there anybody here with me right now?" And right when I asked that, I didn't hear him, but a guy on a bicycle comes by on the path, and he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, wow. I should have
There's
said.
a class A.
Yeah, that was totally a class A.
It was a friendly
It was a
one.
direct
That was-
answer. But I just remember, oh my God, what are the odds of that?
You couldn't time
Timing.
that
Yeah.
better, yeah.
So no, I
Awesome.
didn't. I
That's
didn't save
awesome.
that one. And lastly, this one, people love this one. We were all in the library of JFK Prep, and we were all sitting around in a circle, and we were asking questions, all sitting around in a circle, when my stomach decided to growl, and it scared the hell out of everybody. So here is that clip.
My stomach growls.
Lord.
You're going to hear Rhonda, you're going to hear Mark. Krista wasn't with us at the time, but here is
It was
my
PK.
here is my demonic stomach.
I mean,
So yeah, that was everybody.
Oh, you gotta
everybody
play it again.
freaking-
you have to understand it's totally quiet.
Yeah,
We're
because
all
it is
trying
totally
to be
quiet.
quiet,
Everybody
not
is
move a muscle,
concentrating.
all of a sudden,
And then you hear that and you
Yeah.
think the devil just like walked
Everybody
into
is
the room.
concentrating, listening, and they hear that. So here it is again, my evil stomach.
I mean, it is like Satan himself.
that is really scary sounding too.
Imagine sitting in a pitch black room.
Right.
I love that you can
Sitting-
hear Barry say, "Good Lord."
Oh, and you
It just scared
that
the hell out of
stomach.
me.
I remember sitting with you somewhere too, and that
Yes.
thing.
My stomach is just weird.
Notorious. It's
Krista and I
all-
had that one of the nights that we were investigating here. Remember, my
Here.
stomach kept growling.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Notorious.
All
I don't
night
know
long.
if it's a stress thing or if it's that I'm trying to be quiet. My stomach just
I
gurgles
think
like
it's
crazy.
the Chinese food he eats before he
It could be the Chinese.
Well, in Stoughton, it would be the garbage omelet.
Oh, it'd be the
Yeah,
garbage
which is
omelet.
a
That was
omelet with
more than
chili
just
on
my,
it,
yeah,
so-
Shout
my
out
stomach.
to
Coffee cup.
Coffee cup.
Yeah.
It's
Coffee cup.
with a K.
So there you go. There are some EVPs. Let us know what you think.
What
but
do you hear? What don't you hear?
we're going to go around. Rhonda, EVPs exist or don't exist?
Oh, I think definitely. Just from personal experiences.
Yeah,
For
Krista, exist or don't exist?
absolutely.
Mark?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, me too. I think that a lot of times things can get misconstrued
Sure.
and believed to be EVPs. But I think it's like UFOs where there's a lot of fake, a lot of junk, and a lot of misidentified things, but there's also a percentage of them that are unidentified.
And I think the really curious thing is how people hear
different
the same
things.
thing, but
a
hear
a
it
lot of
differently.
people hear different things in these things, and I don't know why. But I think it's that we get so once we convince ourselves of what it's saying, we can't not hear that.
Yeah.
Right, that's
Like the
thing.
Michael one, I will never hear that as anything other than Michael because that's what I believe it to be.
I think regardless, though, it's just, regardless if people can agree or not on what exactly they might be hearing, just the fact that you
There's
heard
something there.
something paranormal. It's
Yeah.
there, right?
Whether it's a
exactly.
ghost, whether it's a demon, whether it's us psychically imprinting that on there, whether it's a time anomaly,
It's all paranormal.
it's all paranormal. It's
Yep.
all
And it's fascinating.
above the norm.
And if anyone has any suggestions what it might be that's not
if you guys
paranormal,
let us know. If you guys have any
I mean-
theories that we didn't touch on about what EVPs are, let us know. Let us know what you think about our EVPs. Do you hear something different than us? Do you think we're
some sort of radio
for
frequency
Cocoa Puff?
overlap,
Yeah.
or who knows?
do you think we're a bunch of recorder holding yahoos that don't know what we're doing? Just let us know.
Cool.
And now we are going to do our question. Here we go. I'm going to skip two of them because they both, one of them pertains to me specifically, one of them pertains to you specifically. They were both asked by the same listener, so we're going to skip those and do those when it's just us.
Okay.
So tonight's question that we're each going to answer, what are you most afraid of, or what is your greatest fear?
Wow, that's a good one.
I can answer that
I can answer
very
it too.
quickly.
I can answer it too.
Something really horrible or violent happening to someone I love. It's my greatest fear. I worry about it all the time. Somebody doing something really horrible or violent to my husband or my dog or my parents or my brother or people I love.
honestly would have to say that too. I wouldn't want to see your dog or no, but I mean the
You know
same
what I
for
mean?
me.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
of course, dying is horrible, and falling off a cliff is horrible. But knowing it just
And feeling like you
violence is so
couldn't
scary and
prevent it
sickening to
or-
me. Right? Yeah. And I don't know. There's just
no,
so
that's
much of
good.
it.
And yet you do a true crime podcast.
Yeah.
Makes me a little paranoid.
I'm going to obviously say that too. I mean, that's a big one. But as far as like a fear,
spiders or
like
something?
a spider, like some kind of
Yeah.
fear like that, my biggest one is being buried alive. I hate the thought of like being in like Kill Bill where you're in a coffin.
Right. I'm
where
claustrophobic.
I'm
as hell,
claustrophobic,
too.
and you have to imagine the air running out.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And you're hot, and you can't move, so your body wants to move.
Not drowning?
I almost drowned when I was a kid, and that wasn't that bad. I mean, I'm not pro drowning. I'm just saying that I almost drowned as a
Clarify.
kid, and as
Just to
far as
clarify.
it wasn't that bad. I would pick drowning over being buried alive. It's the same thing with going on a submarine. I could never be on a
Nope.
submarine
Nope.
underwater. I
Nope.
can't. I
They
mean, I
terrify me.
physically could not. No, and that to me is basically being buried alive, and that's my biggest.
That's a good one.
It's like gets into claustrophobia and all that, which I do have a little bit of. But
It's hard enough touring the USS Cobia in Manitowoc.
Yeah,
and,
it is
I
hard.
can't
It is hard.
imagine being
And I don't know if
No,
that's the thing
those
with.
were special men. That were.
I know. I could not.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a getting older thing because I feel like when I was younger I had no problem with doing it, but now
Heights didn't bother me when I was younger, and
I
heights
toured
totally bother
the
me now.
Cobia. That's a submarine in Manitowoc. They have a submarine there that you can tour, and I toured it. The last time I toured it, I was like uncomfortable the whole time. I don't like it. So no, that's mine is being buried alive.
What do you got,
Rhonda?
Rhonda?
fire.
Fire.
I've always been afraid of fire ever since I was a little girl. Like my house starting on fire, and yeah, to this day, still.
It'd be a terrible way to go.
It would be.
Yeah.
And a terrifying situation.
Yeah. Just
Have you had nightmares about it? I've always had tornado nightmares.
That's
So I have a
funny 'cause
fear
I
of
heard- I remember
tornadoes,
you
too.
talking about that on one of your other podcasts. I don't remember really dreaming about it, about
Fire?
a house. Yeah, right. But yes, I have reoccurring nightmares about being in a tornado.
Yep.
Just crazy.
Well, I don't. Now I
Since was
probably
a
will.
kid, right? You're welcome. Mark, did you kind of answer it already?
Yeah, really, it's the same as yours. I would, to have a loved one lost or hurt or any of the bad things, and I guess you would almost feel a little guilt that you weren't there to somehow protect them, or like like with my
Survivor's
dad
guilt.
dying of cancer, and yeah, that was tough.
One that kind of freaked me out more than it should have was that movie The Strangers with the people breaking into the house.
Oh,
And,
yeah, that's
and yeah,
stabbing
and
people really
yeah,
slowly.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, stabbing would be a horrible
yeah,
way to go.
where it's actual people doing that
Right.
to you freaks me out.
Yeah, not monsters,
No,
not anything
no.
paranormal, just
human
really
beings.
sick people.
Yep.
Yeah.
People are sick. Watch the news.
There's nothing else you take from this podcast is that people
People
are
are
sick.
sick.
This would probably be a question for the website, but I'm just curious, if you had to lose one, your hearing or your sight?
Oh, definitely my hearing. I need to be able to see. I've had that question posed to me before, and could you imagine not being able to see anything?
Yeah.
I'd
go with
take
you.
as much as I love music.
I mean, I would hate
was
to
just gonna
lose
say
one.
that I love
But
music.
still, I feel like I need my sight to protect myself and to know what's going on, just
Yeah.
to be able to see sunsets.
Well, I think that's
and-
so amazing how people can
The other
walk
senses,
around
yeah,
like New York City
yeah.
without.
No.
Well, your other senses heighten, and
Become-
you're able
yeah,
to tell
sure.
where things are.
I
But I would
could
rather
You
lose
should
my
have
hearing.
saved that one for the anonymous
Okay, I'll
question.
put it on there.
put it on
Everyone
there now.
forget it.
edit all of this up.
So no, thank you, thank you for the question, listener.
Yeah.
And anything else?
I don't think so.
Let us know again what you guys think of our EVPs. Let us know what you hear. Let us know if you want us to do a sequel where we play more EVPs,
We've
because
got
we do
more.
have some more.
Yep.
And thank you, Kurt and Krista, for having us on.
Oh, you guys
so
are
glad.
welcome. You
We've
guys
only
are
been
welcome.
talking about you since season 1.
Yeah,
so I'm glad you guys came
come
on.
up all the times in the episode.
Yeah.
So, because we teased about the EVPs for the longest time.
Yeah.
So we're so glad you guys came on with us and talked
a good
about
time.
this. And
It's fun to reminisce about.
I know.
So many great
makes me
experiences.
miss investigating.
too.
Kurt, could you maybe explain a little bit the how much work that is involved after an investigation,
whole lot of
listening
work.
through the tape?
Well,
Yeah, the investigation's the fun part.
Yeah, it's the slogging through. Like I think I've said
Hours
this. I think I've
of
said this in a
audio.
previous podcast that I would have my recorder that I'm carrying with me. There was one point where I had my recorder that I'm carrying around with me. I had another recorder that I had positioned in a room for the whole night, and then I had another recorder that I was using for
Intermittently,
EVP for EVP sessions. So there were times that I literally had 24 hours of audio to go through, and that's
The
And
fun
how
part
often do you
about it-
actually get?
And the thing is,
a
when you
clip.
watch a
EVP.
Yeah,
when
it
you
isn't
watch-
like on TV.
No,
you
I was
know?
just going to say, when you watch Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures, and it seems like they're getting EVPs left and right,
They've been
it-
sitting in there for
it is
hours.
nothing to go through.
Or they
go through-
maybe,
Making
fake.
them up.
That's just it. That's I don't put a lot into those shows.
No.
You know, especially the longer that they are.
That was one of the reasons I wanted to get into this, is because I wanted to catch this stuff and know
Yeah.
that I caught it and it wasn't faked.
Faked.
Well,
yeah.
I just think longer these shows are on air, you know, there's pressure to produce results
And to keep getting better results.
And we all know we did investigations for how many years, and I mean, you walk away so much more with not experiencing.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you may
versus when
get
actually
nothing.
no,
do-
it's nothing
yeah.
to listen to 16 hours of audio and to get,
Get
absolutely
nothing.
nothing.
You know what's fun about it, though? I think you can tell listening to this episode that the four of us are really good friends and we get along and we have a lot of fun. So
Well, be quiet,
sometimes
Krista.
it's fun to like relive the investigation sometimes because we had
Totally.
so much fun and
Yeah.
you're remembering moments that you had.
It just
or,
sucks that you weren't with us for JFK Prep.
I know, we feel
Somebody's gotta
bad
invent
even
a time
talking
machine.
about it.
John Teeter.
John Teeter,
needs
come
to-
back.
Yes.
Take Krista back in time. Have her with us on JFK Prep investigation. JFK Prep was weird because I feel like not a lot of stuff happened
While you were there.
while we were there.
I feel like Vicky's is kind of like that too, though. Yeah, we've had a
No,
handful of things.
Vicky's. I feel like we get an even mixture of experiences and
I don't
evidence.
know. I think
Well,
it depends.
You know,
What was
Rhonda
that?
and I had the hand rub the back of our hand.
Felt something.
You know, we
At
felt something
Vicky's?
touch our. Yeah, we felt somebody touch our hand. We've seen things.
I had that real bad feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, that
one
first
time.
the first
This was our
investigation.
very first investigation.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
all
that's
had
the one
very
where Barry and I
interesting-
had
yeah.
to leave because we felt so sick.
It was
And-
really oppressive.
Yeah, we
It
felt like
was-
that. We feel like whatever's there does that when people come there for the first time,
Noobs.
because after that, it
After our
kind
10th investigation at Vicky's.
yeah, they were sick of us.
That
by then.
place, it seemed like they wanted to mess with you more there.
It did.
I don't know. It was like the vibe changed every time we were there, though.
Yeah.
I think we had more
Or the
personal
room?
experiences at
Which
Vicky's.
room changed, you know?
Yeah.
The downstairs was where I had
Furniture
that.
room.
What I don't
Yeah.
get
The back
though,
basement.
going back to EVPs, and this even happened at Vicky's. What I don't get is why we can sit there for 10 minutes and ask, "What's your name? Why are you here? What's your favorite color?" And you get nothing, but then you get like one random word or a sentence that makes no sense from whatever you were asking the questions to.
Maybe they can't hear us either.
It's very possible.
We can't hear them. Maybe they can't hear us, and they're just like trying to come up with any way to get our attention.
Imagine how frustrating that would be for
Oh
them.
my gosh. No.
I think back to the movie Ghost so many times.
Yeah.
You know, that
Well,
guy that
like-
Ghost is trying to get enough energy, like Patrick Swayze's character is trying to get enough energy
To open a
built
door
up that
even,
he,
yeah.
If I die,
Makes
you
wonder
guys
if
come
it's-
here, do an episode of the podcast, put my pink microphone here,
Okay.
and I'll see if I can say something.
Well,
Like-
try to keep your stomach quiet, though. That would
Guys,
really
you're-
freak us
we just
out.
got recording of a
I'll be
gurgling
jumping
stomach.
out that
This is-
window.
So thank you guys for joining
Thanks
us,
for
Mark.
having
and
us.
Rhonda.
Thank you.
So much for being here.
Fun episode.
You guys
Yeah.
will be back.
Krista said, you know, it's
Yep.
we're such good friends.
It's just
Yeah.
hanging. It's hanging out with
I
good
love
friends.
these guys.
Yeah.
and reminisce and yeah.
So
Thank you
hopefully
for
you
having
guys
us.
liked it. Hopefully you guys liked the EVPs. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this
Yeah.
episode. So
Oh, and we have
hopefully-
so
I've been
many
looking
more.
forward to
too,
I know.
Really.
Hopefully it lived up to your expectations. So let us know what you think. And from all of us, until next time, stay strange.
This has been an Old School Media production, executive produced by Kirk Konechny. For more information and content, please visit strangesessions.com.